ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the NBA show. It is Wednesday, October 19th, and we had opening night last night. So today, 24 teams will be tipping off, and we will be covering it, talking about it. Oh my God, Nick's here. Yo, Nick, you trying to join? It's Wednesday, so it's a solo show, probably a quick show. And we're going to talk a little bit about last night. We'll talk a little bit about tonight. We have on the slate here NBA news, season expectations, must watch, and tanking begins. I probably won't talk about any of that. That's the issue with doing these at 5 o'clock at night is, we're almost like 24 hours from yesterday's games. So if you guys wanted to hear about yesterday's games, you probably already did that, right? So we're going to do it anyways. All right, we're going to test it out. I'm listening while I'm practice right now. Well, Nick, it's great to have you. Excited for you to come. It's actually quite. I have a hoodie on, bro. It's a little chilly here. So, all right, I'll keep this short and sweet. I have more comments on the Warriors-Lakers because I watched that game live. This game I didn't watch live because I have difficulties watching the Philadelphia 76ers play live basketball. It's very slow, so I like having it on League Pass, and I can go watch it, and I can fast forward through commercial breaks, but also all the fouls that they go through. And last night, there were a ton of fouls, but we'll start it off with the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, 70 combined points. So my prediction was wrong. I think Cyro picked the Boston Celtics. I'm not quite sure on that, actually, but we'll talk about Philly in a second here, but there are some things I love. I mean, first things first, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're good enough where even if this team was not the best, if they didn't even have the depth, if they had more injuries, Robert Williams is a tough injury, but they'll get you to the playoffs, man. This is a very powerful team because they have two absolute stars that are ascending to superstardom. So with Boston, last night, I like that they picked up the pace. I know Joe Mazzulla was talking about that before a game. I know he was talking about that in the game. And they were efficient, man. They were definitely efficient. 10 turnovers. If they played this game, if they played this way in that final series, they might – I don't think they win the finals, but it might have been a little bit closer. Not that the finals were not close or anything, but probably would have been a little bit closer. You could definitely make the argument if they had Malcolm Brogdon. I still think the Warriors would have won. Speaking of Malcolm Brogdon, I don't think Derek White did much for me. Got a couple of rebounds. He had 4 assists. He had that steal in the first quarter. Finished as a team +9. That's solid. Derek White's a solid basketball player. I think Malcolm Brogdon is more suited for a bench role, though. He just kind of commands that second unit. Noah Vonleh, Grant Williams, saw a little bit of Blake Griffin. Mainly an 8-man rotation, but I guess we can count it as 9 because we did see Blake Griffin play a little bit in the fourth quarter. But I loved what I saw from Noah Vonleh. If you look at his stat line, 2 points, 2 rebounds, steal and a block. You might not think anything crazy of it. +7. He had an impact. He had an impact. So I'm glad he ended up making that roster because he's one solid basketball player, man. But Malcolm Brogdon commanded that bench unit. And especially in the end of the third quarter. Now, Jason Tatum in the first half of the third quarter went absolutely berserk. Once he got subbed out, Brogdon came in. And it's not like Jaylen Brown didn't play good because Jaylen Brown finished with 35 points. But Malcolm Brogdon was getting the buckets. I mean, he was straight up getting buckets. 7 of 11 from the field, 4 assists, 2 steals. I mean, he was just having his way with it. Grant Williams, he's trying to get that bag, man. He's betting on himself as he should. 5 of 5 from the field, 3 of 3 from downtown, finished with 15 points. 40% three-point shooter last season. Grant Williams is a really solid basketball player, and it was great to see him start the season off nicely. His Harden back. Harden was actually never gone, but speaking of the Philadelphia 76ers, what I liked in the first quarter, where they scored 29 points, held Boston to 24, I liked the pace, all right? If you watch this show or if you watch my videos, you know my thoughts on players like James Harden. It works, right, especially if you have James Harden, but we'll talk a little bit more about this with the Lakers. teams that don't pass the ball in possessions, like several consistent possessions, if you're wide open, that's a whole nother thing. But I'm talking like, there were at least 5 possessions, and that's being very generous. There were probably more like 10 possessions where, and Tyrese Maxey included, where there were no passes, right? They just get the ball, they get the inbound pass, they get the rebound or whatever, walk up the court. Harden's so good that he can do this. But once you get to the playoffs, that's where you have the real issues. It just becomes a little bit too predictable. Now, James Harden finished with 35 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, shot a very efficient 9 of 14 from the field, 5 and 9 from downtown. He's healthy. He's in shape. And you're going to see this type of James Harden all season. I won't go as far to say as he'll average 30 points a game like he was in his Houston days. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me. But right there with him, Joel Embiid, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 15 rebounds, 5 assists. He had 6 turnovers. All right. I don't know about you guys, but I could definitely tell that he was gassed by the end of the game. And I think the whole Philadelphia 76er team was gassed by the end of the game. Typically, last season, they were more slow, right? They were not necessarily pass heavy, but they ran with a certain slower tempo. And in the first quarter, which I was alluding to, that's where they had the most success of all quarters. So I want to see them get back to that fast-paced basketball. And I think, they just got gassed by the end of the game. But Joel Embiid was good. He was getting double-teamed every time he touched the basketball. He was getting fouled a lot. And he also was making very smart plays. You see the 5 assists there for Joel Embiid. That's a great stat line. But by that fourth quarter, there was that lazy turnover pass that was disgusting. You could tell Joel was gassing. When you're getting double teamed, you're fighting for your life out there. It's going to be tough. And that's what teams are going to do, especially more undersized teams like the Boston Celtics. They're just going to double you. They're going to double you. So it's up to your supporting cast to kind of come through for you. And I look at Tobias Harris here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he had 14 first half points. First quarter specifically, he was balling. That shot started to turn a little bit cold, and he missed some shots that they desperately could have used. Tyrese Maxey, almost similar to Harden, once we got into the second half, there were just too many possessions where there were no passes, and they're just taking threes. I have issues with it. I have long-term issues with it. What's up, Thomas? How you doing, man? Yeah, Solo. Not a fan of Solo. Cyro said he might pop in here, but I don't plan on going too long. Still trying to figure out something to do on these Wednesdays. However, it is the end of October, so we have like one more month of solo. So like we have 4 or 5 more solo shows. Still trying to find somebody. If you guys want to call in, let me know. And I could send you the link on Twitter if you want to come in and chat. But Philly looked fine. I still don't view them as finals threats. I still don't. But they played solid. They played solid basketball. They're just taking on the second best team in the NBA last season, right? So we'll see with Philly. They're going to win probably 50 games this season. We didn't get too much from Trez. We didn't get too much from their bench in general, but I do anticipate that will change. So let's just get right into once again, every solo show I do, just mad props to Cyro for keeping this stuff like running. He keeps this stuff running. We're going to start off with team stats here because it was no surprise as Darvin Ham and LeBron James keeping it a buck. LeBron James loves that term. Keeping it a buck. The Lakers need shooters. They're not the best three-point shooting team. My counter to that is you don't need three-point shooting. All right. Another interesting anecdote was Golden State struggled from downtown tonight. That's not going to happen every single game. Kind of crazy that 36% from downtown is a struggle, but Golden State's going to score more, and they're going to score a lot more. Jordan Poole struggled specifically. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green were on minutes restrictions. You're going to get guys like James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, Dante DiVincenzo, Jamal Green, the whole bench unit. They did a good job. But, this wasn't the best efficient game for Golden State outside of, I guess, really only their first quarter could be considered inefficient. But, from the Lakers standpoint, you're taking 43s. Milwaukee and Phoenix, when they both made the NBA Finals, both of those two teams shot in the playoffs that season 33 to 34% from downtown. So I really think the Lakers need one reliable three-point shooter. If you're relying on Matt Ryan to be your three-point shooter, as much props and as much respect as I got to give Matt Ryan for going to 3 different colleges, or they didn't allude to what his side job was while he was continuing to pursue his dream after college, but like he's been grinding his ass off. It's just LeBron James on your basketball team, man. They need more consistent shooters. They need reliable shooters. Malik Monk could be an answer, would have been an answer if this was last season. Carmelo Anthony, same thing goes last season. So they swapped out their older players for more reliable, young, more unproven guys. So I'm not too worried about Los Angeles. I think that they turn the ball over a ton. Golden State turned the ball over a lot as well. I really don't think Russ played that well, and it was great to see Russ kind of get some love in, once people were saying, like, there was some, Russ slander because his turnovers are bad. What do you have? 4 turnovers. One of them, another time where his foot was out of bounds. We saw that 3 times in the preseason. 3 times he had his foot out on the wing it's just, you figure that one out. But I thought Russ did a good job, especially at the end of the game when you could tell Golden State was getting a little bit winded, as every team is going to be because it's the start of the season. Russ played solid, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. He made a 3. I thought it was impressive that he went 4 or 5 from the free throw line. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they combined for 58 points. My prediction yesterday was they were going to combine for 60 points. So right there, if you have LeBron and AD doing this, dropping almost 60 a night combined, Los Angeles is still going to be probably a 5 or 6 seed. However, you're going to need your other players to step up, specifically the bench. Lonnie Walker isn't a good three-point shooter. All right. Patrick Beverley is your best three-point shooter. Pat Bev was dealing with some foul trouble right out of the gate, and that came back to bite them. I also think Pat Bev defensively, although he did have 4 steals and 2 blocks, it wasn't the craziest defensive game from Bev. Anthony Davis and LeBron James, they look great, though. LeBron took 10 threes. Interesting. He had a career high from downtown last season with 8. I think it was like 8.2 threes a night. That was definitely his career high. I think we'll be somewhere around that number again this season. But like if you're Golden State, you're going to let LeBron beat you from downtown. It just comes down to the bench for me, man. You're relying, like Matt Ryan, 18 minutes. Once again, no disrespect to Matt Ryan, but bench-wise, all they had was Kendrick Nunn, and Kendrick Nunn did a phenomenal job, and that's why I'm so big on, if they had Malik Monk, your backcourt bench of Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn, that's enough offense, right? That's enough offense right there. Cyro vapes and button push like a mad scientist. For real, though. I don't know how he does it. JTA is just like a solid complementary piece. You're not expecting anything really on offense. Austin Reeves isn't a good three-point shooter in his own regard, so they need help on the bench, man. I'd like to see more Max Christie. I know he only played 2 minutes and was in the end of the game in garbage time, but I think Max Christie is more deserving of minutes. I think he's a little bit more reliable from downtown. Some fresh legs. I don't know, man. I'm not worried about, like, the Lakers aren't going to win championship right now as it stands with your bench, but we knew this. Damian Jones also missed the game. Considering Thomas Bryant is injured and he missed the game, Damian Jones getting the DNP, I just don't know how much they're really going to play either of them. I was surprised there was no Damian Jones, but from the Lakers standpoint, you are playing the best team in the NBA, so that should be accounted for. This team is probably somewhere between 45 and 48 wins right now, just because you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and you also have Russell Westbrook, who's going to do his thing. So not too worried about Los Angeles. However, they're not going to win a championship as it stands right now. They were down, I believe, 27 points at the end, somewhere towards the end of the third quarter. They're down 27 points. They started to get that run back. They had 38 points in the fourth quarter, but it's just not sustainable. All right, it's just not sustainable. Now, from Golden State, like I said, they didn't really play that great. He had 18 turnovers. Steve Kerr's not going to be pleased about that. He's definitely not going to be pleased about that. Jordan Poole, specifically off the bench, 4-15 from the field, 2-9 from downtown, 12 points. What good players do when they're not having good shooting nights is they start doing everything else. And that's what Jordan Poole did an excellent job of, facilitating playmaking for his teammates, making the right plays, making the smart plays, finishing with 7 assists, but also defensively, Jordan Poole had a big impact with 2 steals, but he was good defensively last night. As I alluded to earlier, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, they both were on a minutes restriction. I saw some stuff about Klay going to the bench. I don't think we're quite there yet. Maybe next season if Jordan Poole continues to break out, and that's a whole nother thing in its own. But I'm nowhere near Klay Thompson getting benched. I don't like his kind of beef with Ronnie. I think it is pretty foolish, and he did apologize on Instagram today, but it's just kind of dorky in my opinion. As he said it's dork, or no, he said loser behavior. Steph Curry did his thing though. Now, the rumor is, when it's ring ceremony, it's difficult to win because while you're getting your ring, and first off, Steph Curry isn't like the vocalist leader, right? It's more of a lead by example type of player, which is fine. But I give Steph Curry a lot of respect, a lot of props for last night, because while you're doing this ring ceremony, there's some internal team drama going on, the whole Draymond Jordan Poole situation, even if it isn't staining their locker room or their team necessarily, it's in the back of their minds. It's not ideal, right? It's not ideal. So Steph Curry finished with 33 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, and a block. He only went 4-13 from downtown. However, in the fourth quarter, he was like, hold up, watch this. And especially when he had a guy like Austin Reeves on him. Austin Reeves was so worried about getting just drained threes in front of his face all night that he let Steph Curry slip by him all the time. And Steph is so elusive, such a master at being crafty and creative, that he was getting down. He was making his layups. So Steph Curry was huge. But for me, and I watched Cyro's video today on the Golden State Warriors, so I know he would agree too. Maybe he wouldn't agree with this comment, but to me, the player of the game is probably tied with Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry. Andrew Wiggins pretty much sealed the game for him. You can tell he worked. It's not like he's a bad shooter. Andrew Wiggins is not a bad shooter at all. You can tell he worked a lot on specifically his 3-ball. You can tell he worked on his dribbling a lot. And defensively, we know what he can do. But he made 2 huge threes in the fourth quarter, finished with 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. He also did a great job at playmaking and just making the right passes, making the right plays, which is so important in the Golden State Warriors system. Now, Kevon Looney, Mr. Reliable, 82 games played last season, didn't miss a single game for Golden State. He's your starter. I would say James Wiseman, we're probably at best 1 year away from him being the starter. Kevon Looney is just like right next to, they're all kind of glue guys. They all make this work, but Kevon Looney is so important to their roster. He had 2 nice offensive rebounds as well. Kevon Looney, team high plus 30. I thought he did a phenomenal job in just 21 minutes. Now moving on to the bench, this is really where you saw the difference. I mean, the Lakers bench, I don't think I can pull up the stat, or actually we can just count. I'm not going to count Scotty or Mac. So they had 13 plus 3, 16. They had 19 bench points. Well, Golden State had 17, 25, 33, 41. They had 41 bench points. So the bench was a huge difference maker, huge X factor. Like I said, Jordan Poole kind of struggled, but Dante DiVincenzo, he did his thing, split ball handling duties off of the bench with Poole. He had a huge 3 as well at the start of the fourth quarter to just kind of push away the Los Angeles Lakers run with their 38. Once Steph came back into the game was pretty much sealed when he made 1 3. But I loved what I saw from James Wiseman, 8.7 rebounds and a block. Very efficient, 4-6 from the field. We won't see him go 0-4 from the free throw line, or if it does, it's one of those once in a blue moon situations. So James Wiseman, I would say, he's at best a year away from being Golden State Warriors starter. That's why you extended Kevon Looney, right? That's why he got extended. So James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, although Jonathan Kuminga didn't score a point, Defensively was where it was at. The hustle was where it was at. Making the right play was where it was at. He was in the passing lanes. He wasn't making it easy on the Los Angeles Lakers offense. So I think Jonathan Kuminga definitely deserves more playing time, and I think he earned more playing time as well last night. JaMychal Green, man. JaMychal Green on my Warriors channel, I made a lot of videos about him this summer because I viewed him as a huge addition. And there was every JaMychal Green video I made, there was always a Grizzlies or Nuggets fan that came in here and was like, dude, like, I get it. You know, JaMychal Green's a good basketball player, but he's not what you think he's going to be. He's not going to do that much for you. Well, they're wrong. Not only can he stretch the floor, went 2 or 3 from downtown, he had 5 offensive rebounds. He fits the Warriors system so well. He's unselfish. He knows where to be. It's a great veteran presence to have on your bench to command this second unit. Just keep it together. Keep it flowing. He's a nice little slept-on X factor. So the JaMychal Green signing in the offseason was huge. It was one of the most underrated moves. That's why people were saying the Golden State Warriors, the people who got it were saying the Golden State Warriors had one of the best off seasons of the entire league. Because of Dante DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green, they just fit in the Warriors system. So they continue to make the right chess moves, and you'll see it as the season goes on. Moses Moody also, they ran an 11-man rotation tonight. You also got to think that the Draymond Green, Klay Thompson minute restriction played a factor in that. So I'm not sure how much we'll see of Moses Moody. However, I liked what I saw. He also was in the right place at the right time, had a nice inbound pass, nice inbound cut there towards, what was that, late third quarter, might have been early fourth quarter, but Moses Moody with 8 minutes. It was interesting to see the 11-man rotation. Steve Kerr compared it to the 2014-2015 Golden State Warriors. So, all right, NBA news. I'll go on Hoops Hype. I have a feeling, I don't think I'm going to clip any of these, and it's good because I'm a little bit behind on clips right now. We got one person in here. Shout out to them. All right. I don't even know why I bother with this. Yeah, I don't even know why I bother with that. We're not even doing that. Screw that. What news? There's no news going on right now. The Houston Rocket news, Bruno Fernando is going to be the starter tonight. All right, we'll do this. We'll do this, and then we'll wrap it up because I got to figure this shit out, man, to be honest with you. My Bulls play the Miami Heat. It's interesting being on Eastern time. I've got basketball was on at like 1:15 last night, late night. We've got all these games. We got ESPN games starting at 10 o'clock. I absolutely love it. So I have live basketball from like 12:30 to 1. And I absolutely love it. Games to watch, though. I mean, all of them are because it's the opener. Bulls Heat should be a little bit interesting. I'm excited. Zach LaVine's missing tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see because Patrick Williams can be starter. I know he's kind of the talking point. He could be the difference maker for the Chicago Bulls this season. So I'm excited to see what Pat Will does because I think he should be starting just for his development and progression as a player as well. But when he's knocking his shots, it makes it that much better. That's the difference maker. But defensively, he just does a lot, and that's what the Chicago Bulls, that's what we need. I'm also excited to see Ayo Dosunmu because he is, entering his second year here with Lonzo Ball missing at least the first half of the season. A lot of people are starting to think he's going to miss the entire season. It's great to have a reliable young point guard in Ayo Dosunmu. What's up, Charlie? How you doing, man? Appreciate you tuning in today. Solo show, we're kind of wrapping it up here. Magic Pistons is also a game to watch if you're just like a diehard basketball fan because we have Jaden Ivey versus Paolo Banchero, and that's going to be awesome. You have 2 rising NBA teams. I'm going to be watching this. This is probably going to be one of the first games I watch because, that and the Wizards-Pacers games are the first 2 games on, but that's definitely something I'm going to be taking a look at once that game is finished with. Wizards-Pacers, a little bit less interesting. I am excited to see how Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma continues to, I think Kyle Kuzma is just a very underrated player in the league. It's going to come down to health with Washington, also depth. There's interesting guys like Denny Advida. We'll see how Monty Morris is as the starting point guard. I still view Washington as more of a playing team. However, they could easily prove me wrong with health. And just a couple of players stepping up this season. Rocket Hawks is the game I'll be watching for the entire game. I don't even need to explain it. Can't wait to be in Houston soon. Go to the next game against Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Swaggy said, Ja's got a 30-piece waiting for you. I said, good. I'll bring some barbecue sauce. I'll be ready. So young Houston Rockets, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, they make their NBA debuts. Like I said, Bruno Fernando is going to be the starter. So that didn't, Rocket fans weren't too pleased about that, but it makes sense. He just fits their offense. They're up tempo, fast-paced offense a lot better than Şengün, who you don't necessarily want to run your offense through, but he's such a skilled passer. He's got a arsenal of post moves. That's more of his bread and butter. If he was able to stretch the floor at probably 32% rate, we might have a little bit of a different conversation, but I'm excited to see how the Houston Rockets look, and I'm also very excited to see how Trae Young and DeJounte Murray do in their debut. I anticipate this game. What's that over-under? 234. Wow. 234 over-under. I mean, that's a lot of points, but I think they hit the over. This isn't financial or betting advice, but I think they hit the over. Offensively speaking, that's going to be a very fun game to watch. Pelicans Nets. I mean, that's a game a lot of us want to watch as well. Zion Williamson is back. Ben Simmons makes his regular season debut for the Brooklyn Nets. So that's actually a great game. That's a great game. There's so much good basketball on tonight that it almost makes me a little bit anxious. Then we have Cleveland-Toronto, which is also a very phenomenal basketball game. We get to see Donovan Mitchell in a Cleveland Cav uniform make his regular season debut. We get to see DG, the PG, do his thing. Evan Mobley is looking to continue to take that jump, just like Scotty Roy. Can't wait to see. I know Otto's out, but I can't wait to see the backup point guard, see how that's looking. I'm excited to see how the defense is looking for Toronto. I'm probably definitely going to make a recap video after that game, regardless, because I like watching both teams. I like making videos on both teams. Knicks Grizzlies is an interesting game. Enjoying the show. What's up, brother? Not super active. The whole fam listening in. Well, shout out to the TP, the Perry household. Appreciate you, Thomas. And yeah, wow. It's a lot of pressure. I'm up for it, though. Memphis, New York doesn't really get me going actually at all. I know it's the ESPN game, but it's fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch. It just doesn't get me going necessarily as much as the other games. I'll be watching Raptors. I'll be watching Rockets. I'll be watching Bulls basketball. Probably catch this one early tomorrow morning if I'm going to watch it. So excited to see Jalen Brunson, Ja Morant, my sleeper contender for MVP as well. OKC, Minnesota is not that fun of a game. However, we do get to see Rudy Gobert. We do get to see Anthony Edwards. We do get to see Karl Anthony Towns. Minnesota has a great basketball team. So, I mean, they might just completely blow out. They probably actually will just completely blow out the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, whatever that does for you. Charlotte Hornets, San Antonio Spurs. I'm excited to see Jeremy Sohan. I'm excited to see him. I saw he's the starter. I think he's the youngest starter in 20 years, or it's at least 10 years. Youngest starter on the Spurs in at least 10 years. I think it was 2 decades. So I also I didn't draft Jeremy Sohan. I picked him up on the waivers while I deal with some injuries. So I think I got Bogdanovich, another player who's in, Jaren Jackson Jr. So I think Sohan, he's also kind of one of those sleepers for Rookie of the Year. Nuggets, Jazz. The Jazz don't do too much for me, but Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Taylor Horton-Tucker, if you're a basketball fan, you'll enjoy this game because we get to see the Denver Nuggets, the healthy Denver Nuggets, take on a more rebuilding team that is going to be very fast-paced. Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, I'm definitely watching this game. Probably just relax and watch this one. Can't wait to see MVP Luka Doncic. I'm excited to see it's first game, so we're not judging these games at all. We're taking them all with a grain of salt, just kind of like preseason, a little bit, maybe 2 grains of salt. But I have a lot of concerns for Phoenix. If you listen to the show, you know my concerns for Phoenix. So I'm excited to see how the chemistry is looking. And I also love watching Devin Booker play basketball. And it's funny enough because I actually have Chris Paul on my fantasy team, and I call him CP0. Portland, Sacramento. NBA fans love this one. I will also be watching this game for sure because the Kings made a bunch of moves. Blazers made a bunch of moves as well. And anytime you watch Dame, it's going to be a fun show. So let's go. Let's actually go up and down the list here. For me personally, games I'm interested in: 1, 2 out of 2, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7, 5 out of 8, 5 out of 9, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 11, 7 out of 12. So over 50% of the games for me, I'm going to be keeping an eye on while these games are live. So thank you all for watching the show. Like I said at the beginning, Solo Wednesday, it's not the most ideal. Maybe we should do these late at night, but Cyro's in college. It's really hard to first off, college is kind of difficult in its own regard, right? You got to balance a lot of different things, but the last thing you want to do, even if you aren't in college, I did a podcast last night at 9:30. We went live around 10, finished around 10:30, 10:45. I mean, it's, even though I love my podcast, it's still, there's other things. Relaxing is more so on my mind around 10:30 at night. So I can't blame Cyro at all. And also he's live on Kansas Jayhawk Air or something like that. So that's it for today's show. Stay tuned. Ooh, Pearl. Yeah, let's do it. Hell yeah. Good call, Thomas. I've only done Pearl once alone. I do get to take my time. However, it's probably not the most fun thing to watch. So we'll get into it. He's got this speck of hair back here. I'm thinking either Devontae Graham or this certain. We're gonna just, dude. I swear I had this guy ready to go, but oh yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. That offers me nothing. Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna do awful here. Might be a whole hour show. Dude, the Blazers are on my mind, but this is really interesting hair. I don't know why I'm gonna guess Yuta Watanabe, but I'm gonna guess Yuta. Yo. Wow. Who would have thought? I'm giving myself the win. I'll give myself a half win for this week, so it's 5.5 to 1. The one time I did that solo Pirtle where nobody was watching. What's up, Josh? The one time I did a solo Pirtle, I didn't cheat, but I did look at, this was when I still was looking at divisions, because I think we did 3 weeks while I was looking at divisions and still not getting the team. They're still not getting the person right. But I think Yuta Watanabe is my second guess. Is probably a personal record. I'm going to Snapchat this to Cyro, actually. I mean, this is awesome. Look at that. 2 tries. And that's legit as they come, right? I'm not Cyro. That's crazy. Josh, I hope you're ready for this Rocket game. Thomas, I hope you're ready. Hope you're ready for this Raptor game. A lot of R words. I gotta say, that's it's just super impressive, and I kind of want to keep this on screen for a day, actually, just do a 24-hour stream just with this on. I'll remove my face like this, just have that there all for 24 straight hours. That'd actually be hilarious. I won't do it though. Damn, yeah, Thomas. Well, shout out to you. Thomas, you're the real winner in this one because you're the one who reminded me of it. So, man. Cyro said he would try and come in the second half of this stream, and it would be super cool if he just popped in right now. I would imagine he's still live on Kansas Jayhawk Air. Yeah. I gotta say, though, I'll crown myself. I'll Giannis myself. All right, guys. Enjoy basketball tonight. Stay tuned on the main channel for probably a bunch of content. I'm gonna be making a bunch of football videos tonight as well. I'm gonna try and start prepping a little bit for this trip here. Start making some videos, but I'm gonna make a Rocket and Raptor video. All right. See you, Josh. See you, Thomas. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Be a friend, tell a friend.